friends, welcome back. This is the second part of our Walk of the Romantic Rome. In this part we're going to start from the Spanish Square. The end of our walk today will be the Trevi Fountain. So stay tuned because we're going to explore a lot of beautiful places of Rome, starting with the Spanish Square right now. When the square was built, Spain and France, the most powerful countries in Europe at the time, bought significant properties here. In the 18th century, it was the turn of wealthy Britons to dominate the square. They stayed in the various luxury hotels that sprang up in the neighborhood. England, at the time, was the world's superpower. Its higher classes had the habit of doing a grand tour of Europe, with Rome being the undeniable high point. Until the late 19th century, the swarms of milordi, as the Romans called wealthy Englishmen, whether lords or not, on the square earned its slang nickname El Ghetto degli Inglesi, the English ghetto. From the square, wealthy guests proceeded in search of artworks and antiquities to take home with them. This practice supported the survival of the artists and traders who had established in the neighborhood. A similar occurrence happened when the square became an employment market for models employed by painters, both professional and amateur. At the height of the Romantic era, Piazza di Spagna was the world's cultural meeting place, bustling with Europeans, both resident and in transit, all engaged in artistic or intellectual pursuits. The goal of their visit, of course, was the study of Rome's rich ancient legacy. Nothing like Rome exists anywhere else, wrote Stendhal in the early 19th century. Here, on the right side of the square, you can see the 17th century palace of the Spanish embassy to the Holy See, which gives the square its name. Diego Velázquez, the greatest painter of the 17th century Spain, lived here during his extended stay in Rome. And in the next century, Casanova lived and worked in the embassy for a few months. He was a secretary until he got into trouble over a girl who lived across the square, and he had to flee Rome. Yeah, I know we have the works in progress, but just imagine this beautiful 17th century building of Collegio di Propaganda Fide, which is Latin. It stands for Propagation of the Faith. It was created during the Counter-Reformation as a headquarters for missionary work. The bulk of the building, including the simple and well-proportioned facade, is by Bernini. This is Sant'Andrea delle Fratte. It was made by Francesco Borromini, and this unimpressive facade is a later addition. Borromini created the majestic interior in a relatively small space. As usual, his rival Bernini's work is not far away. In fact, two marvelous angels on either side of the high altar are here. The statues were meant for a bridge, but the Pope deemed them too precious to be outdoors and moved here. Copies were created for the bridge. Across the street there is the Palazzo Bernini, formed by two 17th century buildings, which the architect sculptor bought and joined. He lived in only part of the number 11 and rented out the rest. Unfortunately, his bust and memorial tablet were placed on the wall of number 12 by mistake. In the last 200 years, the arrival in Rome of gigantic New Age buildings sprouting up sometimes in the most central of historic districts does not lack critics. Some might say that these structures are out of place here and could even cost Rome its millennial identity. According to one famous Roman architect, these buildings have nothing to do with the city. On the contrary, they look like alien spaceships. As we get closer to the Trevi Fountain, we'll notice the first evidence of urban expansion in Rome. The post-1870 demolition of broad areas of the city in the name of modernization. We're passing along Via del Tritone, one of the roads built by the new Italian state to imitate Paris and London. The stunning Trevi Fountain is more than just a piece of art. It's a bright memorial of the restoration of the Acqua Vergine to Rome, which started the renovation of the whole area. For more information, you can visit the previous walk. For about 200 years, more humble monuments served their role, during which time tales arose relating the water with desire for Rome. The original account stated whoever drank the water would return to Rome. It was eventually claimed that those who drank the water beneath the midnight moon would have to return. After the current fountain became a significant tourist attraction, the coin-tossing ritual replaced the moon custom. Today, the coins are all donated to charity, something like 4,000 euros every day. The court of the King of the Ocean is the premise underlying this world-famous mid-18th century opera. This carnival of marble statues has a royal air to it, while the rushing river has an oceanic sense. Nicola Salvi, a minor Roman architect, created the general design. Pietro Bacci, an 18th century admirer of Bernini, formed the central group. The ocean brought across waves and reefs in a shell-shaped carriage driven by two seahorses and led by tritons, so half human and half fish demigods, is the significant central monument. Rarely have architecture and sculpture made such effective use of natural elements such as water and rock. In the tale that lends the aqueduct its name, a relief over a niche on the right depicts a maiden pointing out the water source to Roman soldiers. Film enthusiasts will recall Anita Ekberg wading around the water and challenging Marcello Mastroianni in La Dolce Vita. So I hope you enjoyed this tour. Smash the like button, subscribe, and also be ready for the new adventures. Ciao!